Welcome to the Pop Off Podcast. This is your host, Xander Rose, and I'm here, as always, with K-OG.
Yeah, what's going on? How are you guys doing?
This is the podcast exploring the lives and experiences of industry professionals in the nightlife industry and music industry. Today, we're doing a special episode. We're going to review Contact Winter Music Festival.
2019?
2019, that's correct. The last festival for Vancouver going into 2019.
The decade, dude.
Yeah, the decade. That's right. Because we don't have a New Year's Eve one in the actual city, right? You have to go elsewhere.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming in a couple of years, but
yeah. Well, I wonder. That would be interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I think Contact's been such a staple for many, many years, right?
Totally.
I don't know when it started.
It's 8 years ago, actually.
Really? Was when it started?
Yeah, because I was talking to a couple people and they're just like, "Oh yeah, this is my 8th Contact," and I'm just like,
"Oh wow!"
Did you go to the first one? They're like, "Yeah," and I'm just like, "Holy moly, dude!"
The most veteran person I've met went to 2013. I think that's the oldest that I've heard of Contact was 2013.
I mean, my buddy Jamie was eight year. I think who is it? Roskell as well.
Oh yeah.
I was talking to her and the other Rachel Square.
Jason, yeah.
And I think it's like their 8th Contact or something too.
Okay, that makes sense. Seems like they've been doing it for a long time. And what's special about this episode is we aren't joined by a guest this time, but we will be joined in spirit by the members of Code Rave Power, which we're both part of. Mm-hmm. Great rave positivity group community on Facebook. If you're from Vancouver and you're a raver, I'd highly recommend you join it. You can message either of us if you know us personally about joining, or just look it up. I think it's like publicly viewable, even if you're not.
I think it's done by invite though.
Yeah, it's done by invite. So I think you might be able to apply to it, is what I'm trying to say. So anyways, we're going to go over some anonymous comments from the members. I know the group also just ran a poll that is supposed to be released on Saturday. So this is being recorded before that has the results from that have been published. So these are kind of the preliminary thoughts from co-ed based on the different threads that have been put up. We're also going to go through our own thoughts, obviously, kind of score the festival, how it ranks for us. I don't know how many festivals you've been to in total.
In my life?
Yeah.
Good, like 10 maybe, I think.
Yeah, I think
somewhere around that.
Probably been to somewhere between a dozen and 20, somewhere in that range. I haven't counted, but
I'm not festival virgin or anything.
Yeah, I would say we're moderately experienced, the two of us. So
not like well versed, you know what I mean? But I know my way around.
Yeah, so we'll go through a couple different categories, and our overall experience. We'll award what our favorite, most surprising, most disappointing sets were, and then, like I said, go through some of the thoughts from the group. So
I think we should just start off with like a little summary, like our experience on day one, and just kind of go like artist by artist, and just have a little discussion about how they were and all that.
Yeah. So
when we first got to the Contact to the venue, I remember we had a little bit of trouble getting your ticket. The guest list ticket. They're running a little bit behind on printing the tickets. I think.
Yeah, that's what it was. So this will come up in my scoring for the logistics and organization. But just as a disclaimer, actually, I should say before we get into our thoughts as well, just for full transparency, I do work for Blueprint as a promoter. So I got to go for free, and I obviously profited off of the success of the event. As much as I'd like to say that that's not going to influence my scores, it obviously does somewhat. So I just want to make that super clear. This was my first time attending since 2016, I believe. So I went 2015 as my first time, and then 2016. But this was my first time going as an employee, and having that benefit of going into the guest list line. And there were some logistical challenges. From what I've heard, it's an issue with Ticketmaster not having printed them. So it's I don't know what behind the scenes that looked like or what happened, but I wasn't as frustrated with myself or the other guest list members not getting our tickets. But what I thought was a big area of improvement was the fact that even the media showcasers weren't getting their passes as well.
Definitely, yeah.
because to me, there were some instances of acts being on stage and their media representative weren't in the building
with us.
Yeah, exactly. So that to me is a really big pain point, right? That's something that should definitely be improved or should be a priority, because they're the ones literally showcasing how the event goes to help you in the future make it even bigger and better. So
definitely,
that was I would say a rocky initial impression, but I would say it only went up from there.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, like once we got out all that, like everything was pretty smooth sailing.
Yeah.
And I think our first show that we saw was our good old friend Nostalgics.
Yeah, Nostalgics was first. Yeah. So what did you think after?
I mean, I was honestly like pretty blown away by like how like high energy the crowd was for her,
Yeah,
and, like,
it was packed. Right?
It was like packed, and like people were like jumping around. Granted, her set was pretty like upbeat and it had like a really nice bounce to it, but like literally like the entire crowd was just jumping up and down, and I was just like, it was just like a really good, like great way for me especially to set the stage for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, I think that was such a good move for them to start with her opening up on the faded stage, because I don't think there's ever been another. Well, Veld 2018 was probably the most I've stayed at a secondary stage, like not at the main stage. And then this would probably be the next one. And I was only there for her Nitty Gritty, but it was like, that was one of the few times where I really, really liked the second stage.
Totally, yeah.
And I think she brought such a high energy crowd. We got so amped up. It was really awesome.
And it's like, I could only imagine like she probably had like a pretty decent like crew of her following come by to like see her. I went early to see her.
Me too.
Right? Like so I don't know if it was just like the crowd was lit or if like they all knew her. But I mean, at the end of the day, like kudos to her for making it to like one of Vancouver's biggest shows.
I think definitely one of the biggest festivals. Yeah, one of the biggest shows. I think it's a really good display of just how good her pull and popularity has gotten over the last year. So really big kudos to her for starting off the festival with a bang. I was really, really, really cool to see that.
And I believe Nitty Gritty was right after her.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Nitty Gritty, who I knew of his Lights mashup.
Yeah.
Before this year.
With San Holo, right?
The San Holo Kanye West one.
Yeah.
This was the first year that I listened to any of his other music. And it was because he had an EP release on Confessions.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and so I realized he made all this like house music. And so...
all over the place.
Yeah. I loved his set. Sometimes it got a little too memey and like...
oh, yeah.
Like a little too much jokes where it was like, dude, I was super amped up. And like, it's kind of funny, but I think for me, it was just a little tiny bit too often. Other than that, amazing.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think for me, his set was just like a little bit like, it's almost like, I don't want to say, like the best word I could just think of is disorganized, just like, there were like, he like jumped right in with like dubstep and heavy stuff and then bounced over to like a meme song and then switched genres and then for like 2 songs.
Yeah, a little chaotic.
Yeah, it was just a little all over the place and it was like hard to follow for me anyways, I was kind of just like all over the place. Like regardless, he still played like a killer set, and just like watching him dance, like that was probably my favorite part about his set. And just watching him like be so into it, and just like jumping around the stage and whatnot. So very, very good showmanship on his end for sure.
Yeah, I thought it was just such a great follow up to continue the high energy. I was just super amped up after that, and which almost like. They said, I think him and Nostalgic set such a high bar so early in the festival that going to the main stage after that, it almost killed it. Yeah,
I remember Set the Sky. I was just like, I honestly thought it was like some sort of like movie score at first, with like the very cinematic like background that he had, and like it was just like I just stopped dancing.
Yes, exactly. And I'm aware that he makes melodic future bass. Like I went into it knowing that, but I think it was just the juxtaposition between 2 heavy acts starting out to that. And I don't know who was before Said the Sky on the main stage.
I think it was Drew Lou.
Which is that harder music? I don't know.
No, he's very feature based. Like he's under the same logo as San Holo.
Okay.
So very feature bassy.
So they started the main stage, I guess, with very soft, kind of airy music.
Yeah.
And
Tails before that too. I know he's not like crazy dubstep or anything.
So I guess that makes sense in terms of, ramping up for the main stage. Mm-hmm. But coming from the faded stage, man, was that jarring.
Yeah, honestly, I literally switched worlds there, and I was honestly I needed half an hour to readjust.
Exactly. To the point where even San Holo, I found I didn't enjoy as much as I think I would have.
Yeah, totally.
If that had been the first set I saw, right? If it had started with San Holo, I would have been like, oh, this is a good, nice ramp up, because he did play harder stuff as it got further along.
Yeah, more upbeat and
Yeah, or just more on the trap side, because, he's mostly future bass, but, he's one of those kind of transitional artists between the two genres. So, yeah, to me, it was just to the point where I couldn't even enjoy San Holo that much. I was so amped up from the first two sets.
No, totally. I mean, I might be a little biased. I love San Holo, so it's I actually thoroughly enjoy this set. He played a really awesome. I don't know. It's just weird to because he's one of my main inspirations for one of my projects, Honey Puppy, and we draw a lot of his our inspiration from his sound and whatnot. So to see that what we've been creating, to see the original, influence of that was very, and I was with Chris, who is the other half of Honey Puppy. So it's just cool. for us, it was a bit of a special moment. So that might have just been affected. That might have affected my experience of it. But I totally get what you mean, where it was a lot lighter and airy compared to the faded stage, which was just absolutely smash your face.
That was kind of the experience. This is getting a bit ahead of ourselves, but that was the experience I had during Res, where since my latest song was a down tempo.
Yeah.
I've been working in down tempo a lot lately.
That new release Fallout, right?
Yeah. So because of that, it was all of Rez's set. I've been listening to so much Rez that I was dude, this is I appreciated it so much. But totally, that's getting ahead of ourselves. So
no, San Holo definitely really, really good set for me. Anyways.
What was after San Holo?
I think it was Cascade.
Yeah. Yes. This was one of my favorite. Top 3 for sure. Definitely. Favorite sets of the weekend.
Hands down my favorite set for that day.
Yeah.
Day
I
one.
would agree with that.
It was just I think the problem was just they were all over the map on day one. There was no consistency with the vibe. Other than the faded stage was great. They all played hard hitting music.
Yeah, and everything after Nitty Gritty too, right? Was dubstep and stuff.
It was Company, someone else, Graves and G Jones.
Yeah.
I actually caught Graves and G Jones the last half of Graves set in the first bit of G Jones set before I went to Cascade.
Yeah.
And very similar, same thing as Nostalgics and Nitty Gritty, just the headbanging, trap bass music, and it was great. I was almost to the point where they switched over and I didn't even realize, because they were very, very similar sets. Wow. But after that I headed over to Cascade, and Cascade was surprisingly good. I did not have any expectations, and he blew me out of the water.
I just saw him at Shambhala.
Yeah.
Amazing set, really, really good. But man, it couldn't have been more different.
Really?
That's what shocked me was
what did he play at Shambhala?
He played a lot more progressive kind of big room, major festival kind of stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of his classics. He threw down a lot harder, I thought, here. And I really loved his Shambhala set. But, there were points during his set at Contact where he went straight into G house.
Straight up.
And I was like, whoa, what is happening right now? This is so sick. And, at Shambhala, he started with Fun. And this time he started with Tight. But that, which I find is a bit more... They're both pretty hard, aggressive songs.
No, Fun's more poppy. I find,
both were amazing sets. Don't get me wrong, but it was definitely his Shambhala set. I think it might have been a bit longer, or maybe not, but it was one of those ramps from. It started at its most intense and kind of ramped into more progressive, huge big room kind of feel. Whereas this almost felt almost like a club set or something, where it just got more and more intense as it went along. And there wasn't a point where I was maybe I'm not totally remembering it completely, but I don't feel like there was a point where he went straight to progressive house and stuff.
No, I don't really remember that either. I remember he did like slow it down a little bit with I don't even remember the song, but it's like he did cut it down and like went down to like 110 BPM and then like built it up again.
Some slower songs.
Yeah. And
but man, I had an awesome time doing Cascade.
I thoroughly enjoyed.
Yeah, that was dope.
Like kind of like that G house future house fusion.
Yeah.
And like very memorable, lots of fun. Danced my ass off the entire night. It was set for sure.
That was just one of my best moments. It was when it was like the first time he played just like a straight Mala Pluck G house track.
Yeah.
And I just like looked at my friends in the group. I was like, whoa, what is happening? And they're like, you love this, don't you? Yeah, they all knew that I was going crazy for that. So.
Yeah, totally.
And then it was finally with Major Lazer. Now, probably the most controversial set of the weekend, as evidenced by people's comments out there. To be honest, during the set, enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah.
The only thing, there's not a lot of acts doing dance hall, reggaeton.
Totally, yeah. Like funk, kind of, yeah.
Yeah, and so for me, like, that was where I started. I started with raving or festivals in Brazil at Sertanejo festivals, which is like their kind of version of that type of music.
Yeah.
And so for me, I love that kind of music. It's a lot of fun to dance to.
Oh, yeah.
So I had an awesome time. Could I be more critical of their mixing skills? Sure. The only critical thing I found was really their crowd interaction.
Yeah, and their mic play.
Their mic play was like, I didn't mind the Major Lazer stuff. That was fine.
Yeah.
But the trying to get us to jump around and all that stuff, I was just not feeling it personally. And I feel like that really negatively affected most people's.
Yeah, I think it was just overbearing, man. Because every drop was mic talk. And fine, great. You want to get like the crowd hyped up and whatnot, but like sometimes just let the song shine for what it is. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to talk over every single song. You don't have to get us like hyped up because eventually it's just like they even like repeated the same thing a couple of times, and I was like, oh, like this again.
Yeah, or it's a shame because the production value is so good for with the dancers and stuff, and so I can imagine if that kind of music isn't one of your favorite genres, I can imagine how annoying that set was, right? Yeah. Especially, which is something I hate, is when DJs are trying to do a crowd interaction that bombs, and then they spin back and try to do it again, as if it's going to go better.
Yeah,
as if people just didn't know what they were saying. I was like, dude, if you didn't earn it the first time, you're definitely not earning it the second time, right? Yeah. That happened with the jumping thing. And when they try to get people to take their shirts off, I remember looking at my group of friends like this. Oh my God, this is a train wreck.
Yeah, I remember actually, it was probably one of the most funny moments of the weekend for me. But there was a point where I think they tried to start a mosh pit, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah. They told people to
spread out and start a mosh pit or whatever. And I was like, it was a group of friends, and like obviously like to the left of me, the mosh part like started growing, like open it up and whatnot. And I was like, oh, like here we go, like it's time to go. And sure enough, like 3, 2, 1, I look at the mosh pit. No one jumped in because they were just not feeling. There's this one guy just in here that was hyping it up. No one.
You know what? To Contact's credit this year, that was one thing I liked, was that there was no moshing. I didn't see a single mosh pit the whole time, which to me, I don't like moshing at all. I find it like very dangerous and stuff. I get that people who, some people stand by it and they're very responsible or whatever. There's like a code of ethics and stuff. But I've just seen too many instances of like girls who are just out of their mind and tiny, wandering into the edges of one and getting some giant dude thrown into them. Like, so stuff like that is the reason that for me, it's not for me. And I generally don't like seeing it just because I know other people get caught in the crossfires.
Totally, yeah.
So I was happy to see that, but I had the same reaction when they were I didn't even see a mosh pit form around me when they were calling for that. And I was like, God, guys, just play the music. And
I was actually shocked though, because it's like literally like it contacts an all ages festival, and that's where you see the most of the moshing, and like the mosh formed and everything, but no one was into it. Which is like I was just like, I thought I was tripping. Like this is the first time I've ever seen a mosh pit form, and then it just nothing happened. It was like the most anticlimactic thing I've ever
seen. I mean, we'll get into it more later, but I think this was one of the weirdest crowds I've ever seen at a Contact and maybe any music festival. So yeah, that was, and you know what my theory is people were so amped up from Cascade, killed his set. He did such a great job. People were so happy, and he didn't do any mic play the entire time.
Yeah, he didn't talk on the mic at all.
Never once talked on the mic. So people were used to just seeing great set. You're going to dance a lot, and not anything is going to be asked of you. Just have a great time. And then Major Lazer comes on.
I know.
And is like, all right, now you have to earn your drops or whatever. And it's like, what is going on right now?
I know. It's brutal.
So I think I can see people's criticism. Personally, I wouldn't rate it that bad as other people are saying, because I really like the music, but that's just because I'm a huge fan of the music. So
totally, yeah. I mean, like, music-wise, it was great, but it's just like, and too much mic talk. Even at the end, man, like Diplo started doing like all like the throwback jams and whatnot, which is like great, you know, like entertain the crowd and whatnot. But as a DJ, it's like I've heard those songs a million times.
Yeah, I still think it's cool to hear them though, like Light It Up and stuff. Like,
no, I'm talking like T-Pain Bartender.
Oh yeah.
Like he played all this like all these songs, and I was just like, I didn't go to Contact to see this. You know what I mean? Like, I want like, you know, like I want to get my face punched in by the bass or something. I don't want to hear the songs that I play at like a club or bar or whatever.
Yeah, that was probably one of the few moments where I had that same sentiment where it's like, am I a bass head now? Like, why am I thinking this is too soft? You know, like. So I feel that. Okay, let's move on to day two then. Yeah. When did you get in for day two?
I believe I got in for Wookiee set at Faded.
Okay, how's that?
Not very memorable, to be honest. Like, again, like,
when was that?
I think it was at 6 o'clock. He was like bass music, but it was like time when I was getting in and like trying to like get my gears together to get prepared for like the rest of the set. Because it's like, I think it was just like I wanted to go there just to get as much music as possible, but I knew like Destructo onward, I was going to be the main stage, you know? So everything was a good start to the day, like upbeat, fun, and one that's definitely set me up, but like not memorable, nothing crazy for me anyways.
And then you went to Destructo after that.
Moved over to Destructo for the rest of the day, and
we had some issues getting there, so we only caught the very end of Destructo, so I didn't really get to see what I saw. I really liked, like I got to see him play out his song with Lodge 21.
Yeah.
Which I really liked.
You would have loved his set.
No Surrender. Yeah, so I caught him at the after party though.
Oh,
so
right, cool.
Yeah, he killed his set at the after party.
What was he playing?
He actually played way like deeper, like a lot of kind of deep tech house and stuff. He wasn't playing as aggressive bass house. So for the first like half of it, we didn't even realize it was him. Like we're like, is that Destructo? Like, I don't know. Is it coming out later? So we played a really long set though, and it was actually really good. Nice, Sibs did a really good job too. Actually, she really killed.
Sibs?
Yeah.
Oh, I wasn't there for Sibs.
She's another. This was at the after party.
She's another vocal. Oh, okay.
Yeah, at the after party. I
think didn't she play day 2? Like
she did. Yeah, she opened Faded day 2, but I didn't catch her for that. I caught her at the after party, and she did a really good job. So
No, I mean, from my perspective, like Destructo was like insane. Like a great way to start that like
I wish I'd seen
Destructo Fisher Rez like kind of like progression, you know? Yeah. Like again, he's like a little harder. Like I'd say it was like almost as fun as like Cascade set, but like more of that G house like bounce and like that kind of deeper sound, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, played all his regular stuff and then like mixed a bunch of other like G House songs. So that's what I'm saying. You would have.
Yeah, I would have loved that.
I think like honestly, if you like stuck there the entire time, that would have been.
What I did, we saw like 10 minutes of it, and the whole time I was just going nuts. I was just shuffling and shit.
Yeah.
When he played the song with Load 21, I was like, dude, this is one of my fucking favorite songs. I love this song. So I was going crazy for that.
Nice.
You want to move on then to Fisher?
Fisher. One of my favorite sets. Like by hands down, my favorite set of the weekend.
Yeah. Top 3 for me as well. Yeah.
He was actually like one of the guys that like when I saw him on the board, I was like, oh, I'm going to Contact this year. Like I have to because it's like partly I just like wanted to see the Fisher hype. You know, it's like see what it's all about. Like because I've never seen him before, and plus it's like he's just like he's a wave right now. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it'd be like a shame, you know, like. I can't see the future or anything, but like I feel like, you know, once this whole tech house wave kind of dies, like he's just going to be like another big tech house artist. You know what I mean?
And you don't see him surpassing that as an artist? Like going beyond it?
Not as of now, no.
Yeah,
like I don't see him like being like the next Diplo or the next
or Cascade, right? Where he can do multiple genres and stuff. I agree with that. I saw him in November at WAMU, and it was a bit of a marathon, and I went too hard, so I don't really remember a lot of his set, to be honest. So I was really happy to see him again because I actually got to appreciate it, and he killed. Like,
he slayed it. My only complaint is like he doesn't mix.
Yeah, nothing complicated. Just played his songs, lots of IDs, like that reverse cowgirl song.
Oh, I've been
listening to that for like a year in his sets. I hear it everywhere, and I'm like, dude, this is one of my favorite songs, and it's unreleased. So when that comes on, Stop It, like Crowd Control, all those really great songs, and I'm like, oh my god, I listen to these constantly. I was so happy to hear them live again.
I think like one of the things about like tech house and that whole style is like it's so simple and easy to follow. So it's like,
just the bass line, the groove is so solid,
and like you don't even have to like think. It's just kind of like takes you, and you just like go on like a little like boat ride to
even just like the pre-drop vocals, man. Like I think Stop It is the one. Exactly. Yeah. I was going so hard dancing that like I was like mimicking the side to side, up and down and shit. And literally I was getting all the people around me would just start doing the dance. That I was like inventing like putting my hands side to side, up and down, like a roller. Yeah. So it was like, so much fun. Man.
I think that's like, you know, for people like us who've like been in music for a long time and like understand it, it's like we know how to dance, you know, but for like the typical person who like isn't comfortable with dancing or whatnot, it's like a really good entry point into
exactly. It's just like easy to groove to. It's just a really fun time. So
absolutely. And everyone around me was having a blast too. So like that just contributed to it.
Just nonstop the whole time. It was great. I thought he did a really good job.
Totally. And then Rez right after that. Oh wow.
I've never headbanged so much in my life.
I was actually my first time seeing Rez.
Yeah, me too.
Really?
Yeah. I could have seen her at Veld.
Okay.
But I thought she was overrated and stuff. So I was like, because I had listened to some of her music, and I was like, at the time I was like, this is kind of boring. Like I listened to more like the hypnotic stuff because I made a mix for Veld, like a recap mix for my YouTube and stuff. And some of it I really enjoyed that like threw down really hard that I was playing near the end of it.
Yeah.
I was like, this is cool, but I think she's still kind of overrated.
Oh, yeah.
So I caught like 10 minutes of her set, and it was all like the hypnotic type of Rez. That's kind of more low key. And so I was like, okay, this isn't really my thing. And I was super amped up from all this bass house at the circus tent. But this past like 6 months, I've been getting really into her because of the announcement of her collab with Mala. And, you know, I was making this down-tempo song before that even got announced with Drake. And so I was getting into down-tempo, especially from Jackknife. That was kind of like my push.
Okay, yeah.
And I got more into Rez's stuff as a result of that, because she's like one of the only major down-tempo artists, right? And so when she was on, and she tweeted like a couple days before, like, I'm going to play super hard this weekend. And everyone's like, yes, so excited.
I saw that pop up everywhere in Vancouver, dude.
Yeah.
Like, people were showing me.
And man, she murdered. Like, I've never gone harder during a set, just throwing my head back and forth. I was having a blast.
Yeah. And like the thing too is like it was so like nicely graded. Like it just got heavier and heavier and heavier. Like throughout her set, like definitely like by the end of it, I was literally like huffing and puffing because I was so tired.
That was one of the first times where I was like, oh, this must be what it's like to be at like a rock concert.
Yeah.
Like I hadn't felt that way actually since I saw Eminem at Squamish Valley Music Festival.
No way, yeah.
I was like on the rail for Eminem, and I knew like all the words to all of his songs, and so you know, Kill You came on, and it's literally like me and all the people in my direct vicinity, you know, all the words just yelling at each other, bitch, I'm gonna kill you. You don't want to fuck with me. We were just going so hard. And that was the same thing during Rez. It was like me and my group of friends were just
like
throwing
super
down.
Into it.
It was amazing. So
that was a lot of fun. And then like the Skrillex at the end, dude, just to top off her set, beautiful.
Yeah, it blew me away. Yeah, it was sick.
Yeah, I actually left after that.
I did too. I didn't catch Tiesto either.
Oh my goodness! I heard he did a great job. Though,
yeah. I'm surprised because I've seen him a lot of times, and most of them have not been good. To be frank, so I've seen him 6 times. This would have been my 7th.
Mm-hmm.
I've never gone to a festival because of he was on the bill.
Yeah,
except for I never have. Every time he's played very poorly, and from a technical perspective, like lots of mixing mistakes. Yeah, like really bad amateurish mixing mistakes of not having things beat matched. Like, just really like at Paradiso in 2017, he was playing Switch. That's a song with the Chainsmokers, I think, right?
I don't recall.
I think that's what it's called. I think it might be called something else, but I'm not confident that that's the name of the song, but whatever his song is with the Chainsmokers, he was playing that one. And I think he opened this set as well with it. That's what I've heard from people. Split. Yeah. So he's playing Split, and it's the build up, and the crowd is going nuts, and he's like, "Hey, I want to hear you." I think he also said the wrong state because we were in Washington State, and he said Colorado or something, which is embarrassing. So I don't know what was wrong, if he was just going senile or what, but like he says the wrong state. Yeah, he might have just been way too lit. So during the build up, he as a DJ, I can tell he's got his cue volume up, right? And he has the song that's playing in his cue. Yeah. So he's hearing it in his headphones. And he turns the fader for like the main output all the way down so he can listen to the crowd during the build up. And because he has his headphones all the way on over his ears, he forgets that he had the fader down for the channel. Yeah. So the drop hits, and it's just Tiesto dancing alone on stage, not realizing. And you can hear the booth monitors are playing it as well. So he must have had his cue routed to the booth monitors or something. Okay, yeah. Realizes what just happened, looks down, and you can see him physically turn the fader back up. Oh, like 5 seconds into the drop of Split. And I was like, dude, how long have you been DJing for? That's the kind of mistake I would make on like my first gig ever or whatever, like forgetting the filters on, that kind of thing, basic mistakes. He made the only time it wasn't like that was his set this past summer at Escapade. That was the best that I've ever seen him do. And I swear it must have been pre-recorded because I was like, there's no way this is you actually DJing. But I almost think like I would rather that for him, just pre-record a set that is like all the songs that people want to hear from you. But he also played like during that set at Escapade, he played like 5 of Sheehan Gill's mashups. Oh, really? His remix mashups on SoundCloud that are like crazy, and he mashes up like 6 different songs. Yeah. And it basically will turn like whatever song into a festival banger. He's one for Losing It and Stop It. Notorious by Mala. Yeah. And they're really, really good. And they're like a hidden thing for DJs. And Tiesto signed him to his label. Yeah. And so he played out like 6 of his tracks. And it was like, okay, I get you signed them, but like, are you going to play his entire SoundCloud library? You know what I mean? So I wonder if he played like the same set here, and that's why people really liked it, because he got really good feedback. It's like a good set.
I wonder if he played a pre-recorded set.
I wonder.
Actually, no, I don't. I don't think it was, because I did see a couple videos of him like actually mixing. Okay. So
it was. You never know. Could be. I'm just a big Tiesto apparently. I mean, all the respect to Tiesto, obviously long, great career, and like I said, it might even be better at this point if he's going to be getting super lit at festivals to do that. Yeah. I did like his set at Escapade. Nice. So if he did the same thing, that would make sense. So, so that wraps it up. The only thing I'll say is about the after party I went to. I went to an official one for day 2. Yeah. It was the Fisher one.
Fisher, Sivs, and Destructo.
Yeah. Sivs killed it. Destructo killed it. Fisher killed it. But I was so dead by the time Fisher was on. My body was just not having it. And I'm a compulsive dancer. Like, I can't listen to music and not be dancing. Probably, yeah. So it was rough because like I wanted to dance, but my body was just is like the sourced and most tired it's ever been. So, so we left early from that as well. All right, let's go into our scoring. So we'll start with the lineup overall. I'll start with my scores, and then so out of 10, I would say an 8. I thought it was actually a really good lineup. Lots of big names, like the throwback to Major Lazer, who I never thought I would like really see for a long time.
I never thought I'd ever see them.
Yeah,
I thought they were like gone.
Especially because I just saw Silk City at Shambhala, so I thought like, hey, Diplo's touring with them. It's kind of like, you know, I saw Jack U at Faded in the Park 2016.
Yeah,
I was like, I'm never going to see them again. They're never going to tour again. So that was cool. Obviously, Tiesto was a huge name. I thought day 2, didn't really care that much about the smaller acts at all. So that's why I didn't show up until Destructo. But I mean, Destructo, Fisher, Rez, Tiesto in a row. That's nuts, right? And then day 1, like, I really liked the opening acts for Faded Stage. So I thought that's really good. The only criticism that doesn't make it a perfect score is like, obviously it's not as long of a festival as like a Shambhala or whatever, so they can't get as many acts. But I thought the programming for day 1 was bad. And what we were talking about before,
the flow of the day.
And I get that. Okay, the main stage was ramping up throughout the day. But to go from Nostalgic's Nitty Gritty to the main stage, it was just like, it just killed the vibe completely for me. So I don't know if that was intentional and I should have just stayed at the Faded stage, but because of that, it kind of like I said, I would have liked San Holo if it started there.
But
because of the programming, it made me not like the lineup as much. So.
High expectation,
What did you think?
Honestly, like a 9 for me, dude. I mean, I'm just having said that though, I am very easily pleased. You know what I mean? But I mean, like both days, it's just like I had like a nice like set path of like who I wanted to see and like got to see everyone. Like lineup wise, like these are all people that I had been listening to for like years. Like you know, Major Lazer I was listening to, and like when I graduated from high school, so that was super sick. And then like have like these newcomers like Fisher who have been like actually just slaying the scene. That's awesome as well, you know what I mean? And I think like when I first saw the bill, I was just like, holy crap, this is super sick. I'm really good. I gotta go, you know what I mean? Like, and like notoriously like the last couple of years I've like seen it and I'm just like, oh, there's like maybe like 2 or 3, 4.
No Marshmallow this year?
Great. You know? But no, it's like definitely like without a doubt, I was just like, I'm gonna go this year because this is a super sick.
I thought so too. That was really, really good. Yeah, and anytime you can get me out for an opening act, like that's a really good sign.
Oh,
that you've done
a really good job. Yeah.
And honestly, after seeing her set at the after party, I almost wish I saw her Civ set at the festival. Like she did really, really well. So that was fantastic. And also the after party lineup was really, really good too.
Oh, really? Where was it? Commodore?
Yeah, so Fisher was at Commodore, but there was Cascade and
celebrities.
And I think Drew. I can't remember who opened for him, but there was lots of good options. So even the lineup in terms of the after parties I lined up were fantastic. Perfect. So really got to give them props there. Production, you start this time.
So I actually, as like a production, I work as a production director for the calendar. You know, like. So I do have like an idea of like what goes on and whatnot. And I think overall like it was pretty good, but it wasn't like mind blowing or anything, you know what I mean? Like compared to I went last year to Faded as well. And like this year they kind of like stepped down a little bit, I found. Like especially like one thing, it's like they made the stage, or they made like the crowd lengthwise. They made it lengthwise rather than like width. So there wasn't as much like stuff to see, I guess. So, but and it was like a very big. Obviously, they're gonna keep like the stage setup and like the whole design and whatnot. But it's like they didn't like add anything new, you know. So it's like I wasn't really like, oh, like holy crap, like this is insane, you know what I mean? Like this is like wild, you know. Like, but granted, I have seen the whole setup before and whatnot. But I don't know. And then like the visual are like hard to say because like all the artists put their own visuals, right?
Yes,
so
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I like having that as a factor that doesn't count towards the actual production of the whole stage. I think I'd give it like an overall like 7.
Didn't blow you away,
Didn't blow me away.
Better than average. Like it wasn't just passable. Yeah. I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I don't think I've rarely been blown away by production value. Totally, I would say Paradiso definitely. Yeah. And Shambhala, of course because I mean the amount of effort that's put into Shambhala's stage productions are just nuts. Yeah. But I was impressed generally by the visuals that the artist brought. I thought Rez had really cool visuals. I mean, if 5 is average, I would give it a 6, right? It didn't offend me in any way. And I thought like, I can't really compare it to recent contacts because I haven't been for so long. But at no point did I think, oh man, I wish these visuals were better. You know, I wish the production was better.
It was like definitely like that is like the level of production that Contact, like you can expect at Contact, but they didn't go above and beyond at all. You know, it's like like with the steam smoke cannons, the CO2 cannons. Yeah, like they pulled back way much compared to last year. Really? I just remember there was like CO2 cannons everywhere blasting all the time, and this year it was like very like. They were conservative with it. Okay. You know? And even the fire, too. Like, they only played fire for, like, Rez.
And Major Lazer. Yeah. I think the best production I saw for Contact was during Flume 2016. Oh. That was pretty cool. They had, like, these curtains drop and stuff.
I feel like that's Flume's production, though. That is
exactly. Yeah. I'm also not the kind of person who's very picky about sound systems. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm not...
You're not like, PK is better than function wise.
Yeah, exactly. And to the point where, you know, people always brag about PK sound and shit at Shambhala. Yeah. And I'm like, if it's so loud that like, it's still too loud when I have my earbuds in, my protection in, then that I don't think that's a plus. You know what I mean? So I appreciate having more bearable sound systems that aren't just gonna make me deaf for the next week.
I definitely felt like the volume was actually really good this year. Like I felt like I didn't have to have my earplugs in, but I did.
Yeah. So I know that's an unpopular opinion to have, to not be a snob about, especially like as a producer and DJ. Like you'd expect me to be more of a snob about it, but it's not. That's not the most critical thing to me, right? No, like totally.
Overall, the mixing was like pretty good.
Yeah,
you know, like there wasn't any like.
At no point did I think, "Wow, the sound is really bad," except for at the faded stage.
Yeah, a couple times at the faded stage, I was like, "It's still."
I remember we'd walk further away, and we'd get past the pillars where there's another set of speakers, and then we're like, "Oh my god, the sound is so much better if we're farther back."
I mean, that's just sound physics, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you can't change that because of the way that the stage is, like the location of the stage, and, like the way the crowd was, like
that's right.
With the pillars and whatnot, like of course, like sound's gonna like reflect off that, and like you're behind the pillar, you're not gonna be able to hear as much.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you know what I mean?
Yeah. So.
But no, I think it was overall like very enjoyable. Granted, I haven't been to like a lot of like those crazy like other than like Pemberton 2015.
Okay, yeah.
Or like
I mean, it's just hard to compare because it's like Shambhala, each of the individual stages has its own events company that's running it. Yeah. You know, like. So they're competing with each other and they're pouring tons of money into their production. So it's like, of course. Whereas like Blueprint has to do everything, you know? It's like Shambhala is a separate company that's doing the logistics and event planning. Yeah. And then individual companies running each stage. So it's like, of course it's going to be way better, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So let's move on then to logistics and organization. So this is the part that I would say is most influenced by like the decisions of the organizers, which in this case is Blueprint primarily.
Yeah. I know you've got a lot more complaints, so I'm gonna let you.
I'll start
take the head on this.
So we mentioned it earlier, but there was really long wait times for guest lists to have their passes printed, which, as I said earlier, I think was the error of Ticketmaster. Yeah. However, it is a team effort, so I'm still gonna knock them on this, like just because it's their partner's issue. They should have resolved it. especially as it relates to the more VIP guests, like the media showcasers. I think that it's really important. That should be a priority. So I'm going to knock them on that. Another thing I wanted to bring up was at one point during day one, I got pulled out of the crowd by security.
Oh, I remember that.
Yes. Yeah. And they refused to tell me why until they brought me all the way to coat check. And the reason why was because I had a hydration pack in my small bag. And they said, you have to check that bag. You're not allowed to have bags, which is weird because I've worn a bigger hydration pack to the 2 contacts that I attended previously, to almost every single festival I attend.
Yeah.
And so, of course, at first I was like very worried. Why am I being pulled out by security?
They didn't give you any warning or anything either.
They didn't, and they didn't tell me why. And the other guy they brought out, who I knew I had just been acquainted with through a mutual friend, he was being pulled aside for having a vape, and they thought he had pods or something. So I assume that they think I have drugs or something. And I'm like, why am I, and then I was like, oh, do you want to like check the contents of the hydration pack? Is that why? And they were like, they just kept nodding no to me and carrying me through. And so I'm like freaking out, embarrassed going through this crowd.
Yeah.
I'm like, why don't they just tell me what's going on? Mm-hmm. And then they bring me to coat check, made me stand in coat check for like half an hour or whatever. It said, check this bag. And I'm like, dude, what? Like, this is such a weird thing. And so I pulled a quote from co-ed because it seems like this was a problem for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Someone said, does anyone know why Contact didn't allow hydration packs this year? They let me bring it in day one, but wouldn't let me the second day. They could have at least let us know if they're doing this in between days. I almost missed Wooly because of this. I'm happy. So I'm not happy and was wondering if this happened to anyone else. So yeah, they didn't tell me like when we were coming in that I had to check it. So I don't know why it would become an issue later on, right? It just seemed very disorganized to me. So that's for all those reasons, I would give it a 5. Other than that, I thought the security did a really good job in keeping people safe. And I found the faded stage was in a good location and stuff like that. So other than those gripes, I thought they did a really good job. But because of those gripes, I'm going to knock them down to a 5. I just thought it was, those are too big of things that clearly people had issues with for me to give them above a average score.
I mean, for me, the way they set up the stage this year was a little bit disappointing. Okay. And I know it was like a marketing gimmick.
Yeah, it's better for photos.
A lot better. It makes it look packed and whatnot. But it just kind of like didn't feel as big this year. You know what I mean? The main stage didn't either. Yeah. The faded stage was the exact same setup as it was last year, so it was just no complaints there. So that was pretty good. I didn't have any problems with the cars, but I know the security and all that. But I know a lot of people were having trouble like with security. Like they were just being like very indifferent and stuff. Like they'd come up to them with problems and they wouldn't do anything about it. Like
the patrons would come to security with
yeah. Patrons would come to security about like a problem with their friend or something, and it's just like I saw like a lot of people getting like pulled aside for like I don't know, no reason. Like I just see like people like they'd be like hanging out next to me, it's like they're getting pulled aside. You know, they might have done something that I didn't see. Yeah, but it's just kind of like I don't know. It's just again, it is like a super big festival, right? So it's hard to keep track of like everything's going on, but it's also just like kind of like there's no consistency with them.
Security. Yeah.
So
I found the security at the faded stage was doing their job, other than pulling me away for my fucking backpack, but my small bag, I should say. But other than that, I felt like there was like 3 other instances where they took people away who were doing like bad shit that I didn't want around me, who were annoying me a lot and like clearly on too many drugs and stuff like that, right? And I was like, okay, I'm actually or people smoking near me at the main stage.
Oh yeah.
And I was glad that security pulls that away because like people have asthma and stuff. I have no interest in your secondhand smoke. So
no, totally. Yeah. I don't know. It's hard for me to put a stake on it or put like a number on it because it's like I didn't have to deal with like the lines because it came so early both days.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
But that's a good thing, right? It's like, okay, if you didn't have to deal with lines.
Overall, a personal experience.
Was that
No, I left early both days.
Oh yeah.
Like, well, first day I left like 15 minutes before Major League ended, and second day
you can give it a high score just because I gave it a bad one.
no, I know. Like personally, I think it was like for me, it was like a 7 or 8. But like I know there was tons of complaints. I've seen like
people who had worse experiences.
Had like terrible experiences, and it's just like I don't want to like give logistics like a 7 or 8 when I like know that was a thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? I just don't know like the depth of that. So like maybe I'll just give it a not applicable score today. Logistics and organization not applicable for me.
Well, that's why I gave it a 5, because if it was off my personal experience, I'd give it like a 3. Because I'm like I was really annoyed or leaving clipping our bands when I want to keep it as a moment. Stuff like
you had to clip your band.
Yeah. They clipped ours,
When?
Because we left early at the end of res.
What?
Yes, exactly. So this is what I'm talking about.
Mine didn't get clipped at all. I just walked out.
No, they clipped ours. Yeah.
Oh, I guess it's just for the people who like want to.
So we can't re-enter.
Yeah.
That's why. So I don't know, but like they could have done it at the bead thing. Like I was trying to say, oh, can you do it here? And instead they just like fucking clipped it off, fell on the ground. I was like, okay, that's cool. Don't even. You know what I mean? Like they were being kind of rude and stuff. And
my memory, man.
Yeah. So I would have given it a worse rating, but I know that it's like because I had a specifically bad experience. That's why I gave it a 5. Because I know like, and then I also do acknowledge like the good things that I was seeing around me that they're doing. So that's why.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on then to the last one, which is the crowd. So obviously, like, other than I guess implications in marketing, there's not really any way that the event organizers can control this, but we still want to give it a rating because it reflects on the festival, right? Is what kind of people are there? How was it? And I'll start off by saying this is my lowest score, but I want to hear what you have to say first.
All right, I'll start. Actually, for me, the crowd was like really awesome. You know what I mean? Yeah, no, it was. I personally had a blast with the people. Like people were very friendly. Like I could just like go around and talk to people. Like, granted, like last year it was terrible. It was so bad. Yeah, because it's like there were so many people just like elbowing you to get to the front and like being aggressive and just like last year it was mean. Like the crowd was mean. Yeah. So to go from that to this was like,
and this was better.
Pleasant. Yeah, it was pleasant. Yeah. Like I remember.
I'm glad I didn't go last year.
Like I don't know, man. It's just like I had a pack of gum and like I was offering it around. This girl gave me like one of the candy bracelets or whatever, and I was like, oh, it was really sweet, And like people were generally pretty respectful. Like there was space to dance, and like I was like pretty far forward for Fisher, and I didn't find myself like suffocating or anything, right? And like you just go like whenever you want to sneak by, people would just say excuse me. Like people were like, oh yeah. Generally they were pretty like, oh yeah.
Man, my experience could not be more different than yours.
I'm going to give the crowd an 8, dude. I had a blast.
Really?
Yeah. Wow. I had like a great time.
Oh my God.
Yeah. What about you? Tell me about your experience.
Wow. I had the complete reverse experience. I mean, maybe it's because I didn't go last year. This was the worst crowd I've ever seen.
Really?
Festival. Yes.
How? Okay.
Yeah. Worse than Faded 2016, which is the only Faded I've been to.
Okay.
And I thought that crowd was bad, obviously.
Okay. Faded 2016 was terrible. I was there too. Yeah. That was a terrible crowd.
The mix between hip hop and ravers I didn't like, but I made better connections with strangers there.
Yeah.
It was just a more memorable experience. My favorite piece of candy was from this person from Seattle that I met at Faded.
Okay.
That's why I have a Faded hat, is because I enjoyed the experience so much in spite of
everything that happened.
Yeah, of not liking the crowd and stuff.
Yeah.
So this was by far for me the worst.
What happened?
Well, this is probably the most minor of the complaints.
Yeah.
Day one was just too sparse. There just wasn't enough people.
Oh, yeah.
It was like
very, very widespread, like just
which is our fault as promoters. We did not sell enough tickets. It was just I don't know. It just felt weird to me. I got a really weird vibe at main stage day one because of how few people there were.
I kind of like that, to be honest. Like it felt more intimate.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind having more space and stuff.
Yeah.
But I thought day two is like the perfect balance of like I still have space to dance.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it's overcrowded.
Totally.
But it also didn't feel like dead. Like day one kind of felt dead to me.
Yeah, no, it was like day one was like Okay, if you talk about it in that context, yes, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Like, day one was very weak in terms of attendance.
I make candy and trade candy.
Yeah.
I always have. I didn't trade any candy.
Maybe that's on you, dude. Maybe you weren't friendly enough.
Maybe, because that's the other thing. Is like I was hanging out with my friend group a lot, but there just wasn't anyone. Even when I'm doing, like usually in past years, I've spent no time with my friends at festivals. I usually just fuck off immediately and just meet new people. This is like one of the only times I've stuck with my friend group, and that might have impacted it. Probably did. But even then, usually there are just people around us that we kind of vibe with and I end up trading with. Never happened. I didn't meet anyone outside of my group, any strangers that like I thought were cool people, like that I vibed with at all. So like day 2, I didn't even bring any candy to trade because of that.
Okay, fair. Maybe it's like I wasn't going out of my way to like meet strangers and like, trade candy because I don't do that.
Yeah.
But maybe it's like different for me because I was like with like a friend and like his group.
Yeah.
Who I didn't really know. So I was like spending my time getting to know those guys.
Yeah. I was with a group of new people as well, but even like part of our like group, there was a big group of people that didn't know most of us. And so like that was nice to meet them and everything, but I still didn't get the friendly stranger vibes and stuff that normally I would expect. I wish I'd gone to the co-ed meetup. Yeah, I missed the photo because we were late. Like I said, for Destructo. But I would have liked to do that and met a bunch of the people because I really like that community, and that would have been a good place, I think, to make those connections.
Yeah, totally. Like that like love you're looking for would have been there.
Yes, exactly. I thought, especially day 2, people were really aggressive. Like I was...
How so?
Just throwing elbows, running through the crowd, pushing everyone, like not very plur to use the term, but like I was having to do a lot of like shielding of like we had a lot of small girls in our group. Yeah. And there was just a lot of super aggressive dudes. Were you like front right? We were on the right side.
Okay.
Like
how close were you?
Very close to the front.
Okay, because I think I was about like 30 rows, like dead in the middle. And I had no problem at all.
Yeah, we were probably like, I don't know, 10 to 20 rows from the front and almost all the way to the right. Yeah. And it was just, I did not like I feel like so much pushing and stuff.
I feel like that's like a prime entry point for people to try and sneak into the middle, you know?
Yeah, and I don't know, people were just being really, really aggressive and rude. And I didn't really have a problem with younger people, which I know is often cited as something people don't like about the crowd. Yeah, I think I had a quote about that. This is the first time someone said this in co-ed, this is the first time I've ever felt old at a rave. I'm not even that old. I'm 24, but oh God, I really noticed all the kiddos around us this year. Personally, I noticed there was a lot of young people too, a lot of kids. Didn't bother me. They were actually being super nice.
They were really nice.
There was like tons of old men who kept trying to like I said, there was a bunch of smallish girls, like in terms of their stature, were small in our group. And guys, I guess, wanted to get in to try to hit on them and stuff. But everyone, they all had boyfriends in this group, or it wasn't going to happen. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I was kind of at the back with a few of my female friends in front of me. So these like old dudes who are dressed like cops would literally just keep pushing me, like continuously push to the point where I had to look at them and be like, "What are you trying to do? Like, get out of here!" And they were really like ruining my time the second day. So I had to play fucking goalie a lot of the time and guard the group. Yeah, it was, which I don't mind. Like I get, I'm gonna have to do that sometimes.
It's just so bad, man.
Yeah, it was just really frustrating. And then just people who looked like they were clearly like way too fucked. Dragging their whole train of friends. And just trying to fucking beeline through our group and shit and just pushing people. We kept getting separated. It was really bad from my perspective. So, I really had a bad experience with the crowd this year. I think we should have gone to like the far left or something and it might have been better. Yeah. Like, I don't know. We should have moved locations.
Because it's like where I was, I had no problems at all. Yeah. Everyone was having a blast. Everyone was being fun. Like, people around me were like dancing with our group and having a good time. Like, no one was being creepy or anything. Like, we had like a couple of young kids come up and start dancing with us. They were a blast. Like, Yeah, I sincerely, for me, the crowd is one of the highlights.
Well, yeah, I gave it a 3. So I gave it a 3. I've almost convinced myself to go lower.
Fair.
So overall, then I guess I gave what is that? 8.
Overall score
14, 22 out of 40. So it got just above a 5 out of 10 for me. The whole festival overall.
5 out of 10.
Yeah, well, I gave it a 22 out of 40.
Okay. I guess for me, because logistics doesn't count, I put a not applicable on it.
Just do out of 30.
Yeah. I got an 8. Contact got an 80% from me.
Wow.
Yeah. I had a blast. I had a great time.
You enjoyed it a lot more than me.
Clearly.
So clearly my bias is not affecting my score because I scored a much lower than you did.
Yeah. I don't know. Did you have a good time over? Like, I mean, aside from...
Oh, yeah. I don't regret going and stuff. I enjoyed it. Like, I had a good time.
Yeah.
Like, I just think that score makes sense. Like, 5 out of 10. I would say that was average festival. Maybe it's because I've gone to Shambhala and Paradiso and stuff. Probably. I've seen how good it can get. And my expectations are just a lot more normalized now. And I have higher... I won't say like I have higher standards because like obviously Contact was the first rave I ever went to. So to me, it blew my mind the first time. Right.
Totally, yeah.
And, now I've gone to tons of events. I played tons of shows and stuff like that. It's like, and as I've gotten older, this is why I hate it's a young crowd criticism.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, because as you get older, you start going to club shows and meeting other older people who have the same like refined taste or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, but you were the same way when you were younger and you went for the first time, It's like, isn't it such a weird coincidence that everyone thinks it was great when they started and it's only gotten worse from there?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so maybe you're the problem. You know what I mean? And so I'm never going to knock young people at raves and stuff. That doesn't bother me. But that's why I said, like, what bothers me more is the super old people who are harassing and being creepy. I don't mind the old people who are there just chilling with their
Funny
friends
enough,
or whatever.
there was a little cameo by like some 80-year-old guy at the Faded stage. Like, if anyone can send us his like link or his like whatever, I'd love to just like catch him on like Instagram or something. That guy was so
there's like some super old Asian lady near us too who is like having a great time. Like that's awesome. It's like it's not even like the super old people. It's like men who I can tell are like maybe 40.
Yeah.
Who are being really creepy. And it's like, yeah, that's like the worst demo at raves. You know?
They're not there just to have fun. And just dance, you know. There's
some sketchy stuff going on, you know.
They're either there to sell drugs or try and pick up women.
Yeah, and they've got like the narc sunglasses on. And you're like, okay, what's going on here? You know, I have no problem with you dressing however you want to dress. Like day 1, I dress kind of ravey. Day 2, I dress like club attire. Because I just wasn't feeling like dressing up anymore.
Totally. Yeah.
But yeah, I think like my personal tastes have just gotten to the point where like the after party went for day 1 was MIA, and it was just like hanging out, very chill, and that was very much my speed now. So
cool.
I don't know.
Yeah. When I give it an 8 out of 10, like it's not like this is like a holy shit like new life experience or anything. You know what I mean? It wasn't like. I think it's just for me. It's like the overall just like quality of it was like good. You know, like 10 would be like a mind blowing, like holy crap, like nothing will ever be like this ever again.
Yeah.
Like maybe like I'm just rating high. Like
well, that's why I'm saying like if 5 is average, this is very slightly above average for me, right? It was good. I don't have any complaint. Like, well, I do have complaints, but I'm not going to say this is like a terrible festival. Like I regret going to it, and people shouldn't go to it. People should go to it. It's good.
I think also it's like this is my first festival since like 2016.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
I haven't been in a long time, so it's just like to kickstart it again was just like I just felt like revamped, you know.
Yeah.
So maybe that's like also why like I was
that's a good point because I'm coming off this summer. I went to Escapade and Shambhala, right? So it's like 2 really good festivals. Okay, dope. Let's do quickly our awards. We're running just over an hour, so we'll try to get through the next part of this a little bit quicker. Awards, best set for you. Who do you pick?
Fisher, hands down for me was the best set.
Makes sense. We already discussed it, but he murdered.
Absolutely.
My best set, Rez. Don't think there's a surprise there either.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah, I was expecting her to do well, and she did.
Kill it.
Most surprising set for you?
Cascade, I think, for me was
same for me. I picked Cascade as well.
Really?
Yes.
No,
yeah.
Damn. Because it's like I've actually I have given Cascade a listen and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of like, oh yeah, like whatever, just typical house music. Like
yeah.
Like he threw down.
Yeah.
It was surprising for me because, like I said earlier, I just saw him at Shambhala.
Yeah.
And so I was expecting him to do like literally the same set.
Yeah.
And for me to be like, oh yeah, I'll be good. But like, you know, I'll have heard it already.
Totally. Yeah.
And nope, he blew me out of the water.
Yeah,
like it was nuts. So
great. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. We've talked about it earlier, but one of the best sets. And for me, it was surprising because Rez I knew would be good. Like I was expecting her to be really good. Right?
100%. You know she's gonna throw it down. You know she's gonna deliver.
Most disappointing set. You're gonna hate my answer.
Oh boy. For me, it was. I think it might be Major Lazer. It actually, I think Major Lazer for me was the most disappointing set, just because like
that's gonna be the popular answer. I think.
I don't know, man. Like it's Diplo. You know, like you'd expect Diplo to like come in and perform like someone like Rez or someone like Fisher. I mean, granted, he has been in the game for so long, and like those two are like still very new, and they have like a lot of like energy to give, you know. But it's just like I was kind of like, dude, you've been doing this for what, like 2 decades now, and like that's what you got, like, and plus it's like you just like talk so much, and like I don't know, like by the end of it, I was just kind of like tired of it. Like I was just like, I don't want to be here anymore. You know?
I think lots of people share that sentiment.
Totally.
Personally, I didn't. I was like in it the whole time, but I was laughing at the mic work. I was shaking my head and just being like, dude, this is
dumb.
Leave it alone. This is stupid. My most disappointing one was San Holo.
Oh,
and
really?
I don't think it's even his fault. Like I said, I think it's literally the programming. It was just, I was excited to see him beforehand, had high expectations. And literally I was just way too amped from Nostalgics and Nitty Gritty, and then I was just so bummed out from Said the Sky. Like me and my friends were yawning, and we were like, this is so boring. And then Sound Holo came on, and he just didn't turn it up enough for me to be like, okay, you just saved it. I was like, okay, you're playing some songs that I know, and I like these songs, and it's cool you're playing guitar and stuff. And I play guitar, so you'd think I'd really like that, but I was in such a negative mood that I think
you just wanted to just like smash your face into the wall.
Yeah, I did. I wanted like Rez after Nitty Gritty, you know? Like, that's what I wanted. It's like Cascade, just when he came on, it was like, okay.
Yeah, see,
this isn't his fault. I know it's not San Holo's fault. It's mine. No. It's my fault. It's the programming's fault. I should have just stayed at Faded until
honestly, I mean, what can you do though? Cascade, like, what can you do?
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
So we're gonna move on now to Co-Ed Rave Power's thoughts. So my good friend Michael posted asking for people's initial opinions of how it went, and I did a quick tally of the frequency of artists mentioned. So just who was your favorite acts?
Yeah.
Rez came out number 1. She got 16 comments mentioning her. There was 80 comments in total, but not all of them mentioned artists. A lot of them were just videos. So
okay, cool.
I would say that was like the vast majority of comments that had listed people, listed Rez. Doesn't surprise me for Co-Ed. They're very like into bass music. Love Space Mom. So I mean, I also think it's a good answer to this question.
No, absolutely, yeah.
So it doesn't surprise me.
I feel like a lot of the other artists are very commercial, right? Like Rez is like the only like underground, finally coming to like the surface artist that was on the list, right?
And the group is for people who are really into festivals and raving, right? So it makes sense. Yeah. Next was surprising for me because of how much of a hater I am, but Tiesto had 7 mentions, so second highest. Good for him. Fisher was next at 4.
4 comments came third though.
Yeah, he came third. Major Lazer and San Holo tied for 4th.
Oh, and Davin as well.
Oh, and Davin, that's right. Yeah, all tied for 4th. So that was a surprise for me. Davin.
I
have no idea what that is or who.
I've never heard of him before.
I mean, he got fourth.
Tied for fifth, Nitty Gritty, Cascade, and Wooly.
I actually saw a lot of comments about Wooly being like his favorite.
Yeah. So surprises me that Cascade is that low because of how, maybe it's just us, but
we're just house bums.
Yeah, we are just house peasants. That's right. And then honorable mentions, these each got one mention each. G Jones, Bonnie and Clyde, Feed Me, Destructo, and Company.
Nice.
So good job to... Overall, I'm surprised that Nostalgics didn't get a mention. I would have mentioned her.
I just feel like not enough people were there.
Yeah, maybe. They're, like I said, these are not the official results from Co-Ed. So the survey that they ran will be out on Saturday, but it's a whole year in review. So I don't think it's only for Contact. But I would imagine if we ran a survey that was a bit more empirical, we would see some of these numbers change a bit.
Yeah.
I would think the general same kind of order, with Rez, Tiesto, Fisher, Major Lazer at the top, Sun Holo, etc. But we'll go into some of people's specific comments now. So this is a comment about Fisher. Saw Fisher in Toronto, and it wasn't that great. But last night, as in day 2, it was amazing. Overall, Bonnie and Clyde until the end at the main stage was beautiful. I couldn't believe how many people were selling their wristbands for day 2. Like, what?
True, yeah.
Blown up head emoji. Day 2 was way better. And I agree. Day 2 was overall better.
I think,
surprised me that people were selling their wristbands for day 2.
I think
well, I mean, it's just like, look at the attendance. Like, I think just the attendance alone should show you like how popular the second day was.
Yeah.
But that would surprise me that people were selling their wristbands.
Yeah, I know. I'm actually really surprised about that too. Because I remember the first day, it's like the crowd barely even made it to the sound booth.
Yeah. I noticed that.
And then the second day, they almost like reached the back. Yeah, it was like, it was insane.
That's why. And what I liked about it too, day 2 was, even though it went to the back, it still wasn't so dense that you didn't like.
Totally,
have space to dance.
It wasn't packed, like it wasn't sardines,
Yeah, it wasn't a sardine party. That's that's right. It wasn't Volak at MIA for sure. That's my barometer for how packed an event can get. That or like the last Celebs Tuesday of the semester. Those are the two most packed I've ever seen an event. This is about Rez. Rez absolutely blew me away. Her set and also lighting and visuals. I'm 100% convinced that stage was made specifically for her because the lighting and visuals literally didn't go that hard for any other set day 1 or 2. So I think it's just her team took the best advantage of it.
100%.
And she's known for having really good visuals. Obviously, I doubt that it was built for her.
No, it definitely wasn't. I think it's just like...
Actually, I thought Fisher had good visuals too. I actually remember his visuals.
A lot of his... Well, he had a bunch of like selfie with a mirror. Like mirror self. It was like a video of him performing, except it was like mirrored so you could see him like facing towards him.
Yes,
so,
yeah.
Remember that? Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. Because that's like the music video, I think, for You Little Beauty is that.
Oh, really?
That style.
No.
But I think Rez had the best visuals by far.
Rez was
really
insane.
trippy, dope visuals. So
I know. I remember reading a couple comments about her like 6-arm visual where she turns into like a god,
the Hindu god.
Hindu god, where she has 6 arms and she's like got all the crazy like patterns in the back, and you're just kind of sitting there being like, what?
Yeah, so trippy and fits her music really well.
Oh, totally, yeah, fits her vibe. I think like branding wise, like Rez has just got it down to a science. Yeah, like
definitely,
she's got a recipe for it. Like it's brilliant.
This is about Major Lazer, and this is pretty funny.
Oh Lord!
I swear, Major Lazer asked me to put my hands in the air more times than the songs he played. Dude, please stop. Rip Major Lazer.
Oh my God! Yep, poor Major Lazer.
They're getting hate to the grave on that one.
I well served though. They absolutely destroyed the mic. So
yeah, they really abused the fact that they have a mic. So I'm like, I don't know about you, but I never do mic play at all when I DJ. Like
I do sometimes.
I'm like jealous of DJs who can, because that's not my personality and stuff.
Totally, yeah.
I'm just not into it, and I don't have enough experience playing to that kind of crowd.
Yeah.
I think a part of it is actually just like the event that you're at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's like I know at college parties, and like all the EBC parties, like kids go nuts when you just say.
When you go on the mic, yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be a lot.
You know
It's
what?
like,
A good example of that I thought was Venue Saturday.
Yeah.
Most Wanted.
Yeah,
he
goes
kills it
He
on the
loves
mic.
the mic. Yeah.
Man, he gets them going on the mic.
To be fair, it's like he's got a packed house
Yeah.
at like 2 a.m. and
Yeah.
everyone is mangled.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
They all want it, and they all love that kind of music.
They love the energy too,
Yeah,
you know. And
exactly.
I think like the guys at Venue did a brilliant job putting him in that slot. And I think he's like grown into that slot so nicely, the closing slot.
Yeah.
Because he does throw down a disgusting set.
Yeah, killer. Shout out Most Wanted.
Yeah.
This last one, I want to end on some positivity before we head out. Someone asked in a post for people to share their clear moments at the festival.
Mhm.
And it's a really nice thread to read through, but I just thought I wanted to highlight one that I saw.
Yeah.
My GF and I met the most amazing people last night. So much love in the crowd, lots of smiles, compliments, candy trades. And we met a group of awesome kids who brought their mom to her first rave. She had such a blast, and everyone made it such a great experience for her and us because we are also moms. Hashtag rave moms for life. How cute is that?
That's adorable.
That's adorable. Yeah. So as much as I was hating on the crowd, I clearly see that lots of people had an awesome
Yeah,
time.
maybe you're just an
Just my spot.
old fart.
I take responsibility. I know. I think it's just where we were. I take responsibility, and I think as well it shows me that I need to make sure I'm not just sticking with my close friends the entire time, because my best rave experiences have been wandering off, not seeing my friends until the end, and meeting strangers and stuff. So I think I should have. I put that on me and on us to have a better experience like this person clearly did. So shout out rave moms. All the rave kids like me appreciate you.
You guys are the best.
Any final thoughts, Koji?
No, not really. I think we got it all covered. I mean, for anyone who's looking, I think this is like a really, really good like level entry festival for anyone that like is looking to like, you know, get into the culture, get into the scene. Like, this is like an awesome like first step towards that.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I'm very grateful for Contact for introducing me to raving, and they're the reason I became a DJ. So congratulations to everyone who put it on. Congratulations to Blueprint, all the artists, and everyone who worked on the team. I know lots of my coworkers worked really hard for it. So yeah, it's really great to see that come to fruition. And, you know, I think for both of us, it was really one of the highlights was to see Nostalgics on stage.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. Just local talents, like someone that like both of us have like conversed with and talked to and like seen grow through the
Exactly.
industry.
Yeah, that especially I think was really special, and it kind of acts as like a beacon of what's possible and the opportunity that lies for a lot of us in the industry. So that's awesome. Contact, I think, for me is like part of the fiber of Vancouver's nightlife scene.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I can't wait until next year.
That can happen. Until then,
Pop off.
pop off.